Hello everybody, how are you? It's Mike Andrew once again providing a short video with practical insights as it applies to business and leadership. I've always felt that we all have an unwritten responsibility that they don't teach us in business school or in leadership courses. And that unwritten responsibility is managing your boss or managing the relationship with your boss. In leadership courses, they teach you how to manage people, how to manage teams, but very rarely, if ever, do they teach you how to manage up, especially your number one stakeholder, your boss. There's a saying, keep your boss's boss off your boss's back. That, in essence, is part of what managing the relationship with your boss is all about. It's keeping them updated, taking the load off their shoulders. Think of the stress and the scope of responsibility and the people they have reporting to them. And just think about the effect that has on your boss. So if you can manage that relationship and keep your boss's boss off your boss's back, take the load off his or her shoulders, help them, be proactive, follow up, take the lead, keep communicating. You know, there's some examples I can clearly come up with so many, but not too long ago, I was an advisor to a few boards, and on one of the boards, I can remember the chairman of the board came up to me and said, Mike, I don't know what's going on, but I'm not going to mention his name, but the CEO, he doesn't return my phone calls or emails. And I said, what? That didn't make any sense. The chairman is the boss of the CEO. So I went to the CEO, I said, what's going on? He said, I know. Yeah, I have to do a better job. I said, well, you do need to do a better job. And eventually he did a better job and things got a little bit on track and on board with that relationship. In another company, the CEO and the chairman, constant communication, constantly updated, great relationship to the point where when they met every quarter, things generally ran fairly smoothly because updates were occurring along the way. The CEO knew how to manage that relationship with his or her chairman. I worked for a company where I reported directly to the CEO, and the job that they brought me in for was a newly created job that they had never had before. So I was a little bit apprehensive, to be honest. And what I did was, once I came on board, I set up 2 formal meetings per month with the CEO to provide relevant and substantive updates. And at the end, ask the question, are we on track? Is this what you were expecting? And actually, to take it one step further, at least once a week, I would go to the CEO's office to provide a relevant update that I knew was of interest to him. Managing that relationship. I worked for another company where I was brought in as a director, and I was working for the youngest vice president in the company's history, very impressive person. And the company was investing in this person heavily and accelerating this person's career growth. Well, it turned out that this person was over her head. And what I was doing, I wasn't behaving the right way. I was frustrated, I would vent, and I wasn't doing myself any favors. And one day I made a decision to flip it around. And I went to her and said, what can I do to help you? I'm here to help you succeed, which was the smartest thing I ever could have done. Because eventually, unfortunately, this person resigned. It was too stressful over her head, and she recommended me to be the vice president. You know, I can remember years ago when I was working back home in the Boston area, I had a job where I worked remotely out of my home, but the corporate office was in California. So other than the weekly phone calls, what I used to do is on Monday morning, I would send my boss an email saying, here's my plan for the week. And on Friday, I would update my boss on how I achieved the plan. A very simple thing that no one else did, and it meant a lot to him in managing that relationship. So, and by the way, even in the pandemic, there is clearly as much opportunity to manage the relationship with your boss during the pandemic as there was before and as there will be after. In fact, now that people are coming back to work, there are still people that are allowed to work at home for the right reasons. I understand that. But I always advise them, Come into the office every once in a while. Stick your head in, say hello to your boss. Let your boss know what you're up to. You got to manage that relationship. It's your number one stakeholder and your unwritten responsibility. So that's my message for today. There's more to it, which is how do you manage a boss that's very difficult and really not a good leader and is making your life stressful and difficult? That's for purposes of time, I'm going to end it there, but I'll do that in another video if you'd like. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.